Welcome to the Boss and the Sauce Show, American Athletic Conference Preview West. What up, though? I'm so excited today. We're going into the conferences of college football, and I got my man, BigRagoo, right here. What up, Ragoo? Holla at the people, folks.
Hey, DJ, listen, we've been talking about these magazines for 4 weeks now, and now today we finally get to break them down team by team, conference by conference, and let's talk meat and potatoes, let's talk numbers, let's talk W's, let's talk coaches, let's talk college football today.
Hey, and don't forget that we're going to talk some betting, too, at the end of each one of these conference breakdowns right here. So I'm totally excited to get this going. As a matter of fact, you know what, BigRagoo? Let's go ahead and jump off into the first one in the AAC, and we're going with. Now, let's jump right into it. Memphis Tigers, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, and a new quarterback. This team's coming off an 8-6 season. Coach Mike Norvell, this is his fourth year. Now, fourth year is a true turning point for a coach. That means all the other guys' athletes are gone. All the new recruits, you've recruited them themselves, and it's time to get to work. And this guy inherits 6 on offense, 8 on defense. He gets a quarterback, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a left guard, and a center, which is nice. Just like we said, we got somebody to block, somebody to catch the ball, and somebody to throw it. Then on defense, he gets a nose tackle, 2 linebackers, 3 linebackers, a cornerback, a strong safety, and a free safety. Now, that's nice. Now, they do have a top newcomer in Rodney Owens, a 6'2", 210-pound product of Nashville. This guy is going to come in here and change the game. So, what do you think about this team, Memphis Tigers, right here, BigRagoo?
Yeah, Memphis Tigers was a totally offensive-minded team last year. Their running game really set the pass up for them a lot. I mean, Pollard and Henderson, they both went to the draft this year. They're going to have to reload on the running back side. They got a kid, Patrick Taylor, who's a senior, and an incoming freshman, Kenneth Gainwell, a true freshman. He's coming in, and they do have Brady White as a quarterback, which last year he threw for 26 TDs, a little over about 3,300 yards. So I think they're going to have to shore up their running game. They still have a ton of wide receivers, two senior tight ends. Defensively, they're right in the middle of the pack. They're so-so on defense, but they can score points. And like you say, fourth-year coach, fourth year coming back for Norvell. They got their work cut out for them. You know, their schedule is not going to get any easier. They start off with Ole Miss. That's going to be a tough game for them. Then they got two lighter scheduled games after that, and then they meet up with Navy. So they got them projected as 9-4 on the west side of the conference, and they probably will accomplish their goals as far as victories go. I think 9 wins is a doable task for them. They're just going to have to stay on top of their game. Their running game, though, they're going to have to pick up where they left off to continue this success, even though the quarterback has not really struggles, but his numbers are not top tier numbers. They're good numbers, but their offense is definitely set up by the run, and we'll see if it continues this year.
There it is there. My opinion on this team right here is that they will do well. They will definitely do well. The schedule is not that tough at all, BigRagoo. They do come out to Ole Miss, 2 cupcake games, and then they got to see Navy. But then after that, it's just at Temple, at Houston, and then they see Cincinnati at the last game. They could pull off an upset in quite a few of those games. Later in the season, injuries burying, all kinds of stuff. I definitely see 9 wins, a solid 9 wins for this Memphis Tigers team this year. And they're giving up about 423 on defense a game, but they're averaging about 523 on offense and total yards a game.
Yeah.
So they are scoring more than they're giving up, and that is definitely a formula to win 9 games. Any other closing remarks on Memphis Tigers, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I was telling you about the kid Pollard, the running back. Well, he also was a dual duty special team. He was a kickoff. He had 7 touchdowns last year, 7 kickoffs returns for touchdowns. And so, anyways, they're talking about, the kid from the freshman coming in, and they got a wide receiver, Calvin Austin, who also is going to handle some kickoff duties for him. And we'll see. We'll just see how it plays out. I like the team. They're talented, and we'll find out come August 31st when they open up against Ole Miss.
You heard it right here first on the Boss and the Sauce. 9 wins for the Memphis Tigers. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Houston Cougars. We have made it to this team. Let's go through Houston Cougars. Now, Dana Holgorsen comes over from West Virginia on his first year here, and he's going to bring his whole arsenal of offense along with him. Now, this team was 8-5 last year, and Holgorsen gets 7 on offense, 3 on defense. So he gets a quarterback, a wide receiver, another wide receiver, a left tackle, a center, and a right tackle. What does that equal? A line, somebody to throw it, and somebody to catch it. That's all you need in a good passing offense. Now on defense, it's not that pretty. He has a defensive end and 2 strong safeties. So he may be able to lock something down over the top, but the running game, those little tight end passes, they're going to be relying on new talent to lock those parts of the game down. So my analysis on this team is over. This is one of those 100-point over type teams that I'm going to be looking for to put down on the over on this one. Even last year in their 8-5, they played South Florida 57-36, Navy 49-36, East Carolina 42-20. Over. I'm gonna say it over again for the Houston Cougars. What do you think about this, Big Ragoo?
I think it's over before it started, man. What do I think? I think, like you said, Holgorsen coming over from the Mountaineer squad, bringing that air attack that he likes to implement. He's got a lot of talent. Dude, if you look at this lineup that he has, I mean, if they could just kind of adapt to his system, he's got 8 players on offense, 3 wide receivers, like you said, guards, a quarterback, a running back. And you know what it is, too? Not only are they returning, these guys are seniors. They're all seniors. So with their leadership on the field, an offensive line to block, a pretty darn good quarterback in De'Ara King, and a pretty decent quarterback in Carr, I look for these guys to make a little bit of noise. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of betting a first-year coach early in the season, but come October, you better believe I'll be throwing some money down on this team because they're going to get better, and they're going to get adjusted, and they're definitely going to win some games along the way. But I'm looking for this team to make a little bit of noise. They're predicted number 2 in the AAC West. I wouldn't be surprised if they win that thing going forward. Now, their Achilles heel was their defense. I think they ranked 10th in the defense in the West last year. So they brought in a guy from Arkansas State to shore up the defense, and his name is Joe Coffin, I believe. I don't know a whole lot about him. Joe Coffin. He's known for his attacking style, Ark State. And they think he'll make a switch from a 3-man to a 4-man front. So maybe that'll slow down things. Maybe to get a little pressure on the opposing quarterback, slow the run down. Because they're going to need it in this league. Like you say, it's a wide open league. And that's going to be the turning point for this squad. If they could make some defensive plays, and I think the offense is going to be there based on the history and the talent and the coaching style, look for Houston to make some noise in this division early and late.
Now, I say with the schedule that they have, the schedule's gonna predict the future. Basically, they open up at Oklahoma, then they go see Prairie View, then they see Prairie View at home, then they get Washington State at home, and then they go to Tulsa, to North Texas, they get Cincinnati at home, and they also got to go to UCF and then play Memphis after that. So their work is cut out for them here. Back to like I said earlier about some other teams, it's all about balance. You know, they may lose to Oklahoma, but it may build them to beat Memphis or UCF towards the end of the season. So I see these guys on the first year coach, tough schedule coming out, opening up at Oklahoma. I see them doing the same thing as they did last year, 8-5, well, 8-4 plus a bowl game, or they might bump it up to 9 wins, but I doubt it. I lock them in at 8. But that's it right there for me on the Houston Cougars. What you gonna do with this team this year?
Like I said, I'm going to be a pretty good observer early, and probably be playing on them a little bit later in the season. So the jury's going to be out for me watching them as a fan, and I'm kind of hoping things develop for them because I would like to get involved with this team just by the talent that they have and the coaching style, Holgerson. So look, like you said, I think probably 8-4, 7-5, 9-3. You know, if they get lucky, they might squeeze an extra win. Maybe let's say they win one of those Washington State type games or Cincinnati game. You know, get that extra victory to put them over the hump, and then probably looking at a decent bowl like late December. So we'll see how it plays out for them.
But definitely a contender to win the West right here, though. I'll give it to Houston for that. But there it is right there on the Boston Sauce Show. Houston Cougars. Who's up next? Stay tuned. Let's go. Shout out to our armed forces. We get to the Navy midshipmen. Now, I must say, I had a chance to go out and watch Notre Dame versus Navy in San Diego last year. What a wonderful experience. Even though we kicked their butts, I got much love for our armed forces and their football teams. But they did go 3-10 last year. Coach Ken, who's been there for years, is at an all-time low, I would say, this year, only returning 3 on offense, 2 on defense. He gets a fullback and a wide receiver on offense, but he does return a quarterback, which should be helpful. And then on defense, he gets the nose guard, Jackson Pittman, who was really good last year, and also a linebacker. So he got his work cut out for him real well this year. I don't see much improvement from 3-10. What are we going to get? 4-9? I don't know. But definitely got much respect for our armed forces teams, but I don't trust them on the football field in 2019. How about you, BigRagoo?
Listen, I trust these guys with my life on the borders, but on the football field, that's a whole nother story. Much respect, like you say, to our guys in the blue. Salute to you guys. Coach Ken stepping up, as he always does year in, year out, plugging these kids into the system. He's got the only guy coming back on offense is the center on the line. So he's going to have some missing pieces around him. And they're definitely a run first, with the option play. I think last year, what they say, he ran, last year he rushed 105 times and only threw 5. So that's not that many for this quarterback. He's coming back. He lost his starting job, actually. His name is Perry, Malcolm Perry. So he was a starting quarterback that lost his job last year. They're going to reinsert him this year to play. Hopefully he does good. I'll be rooting for him, obviously. But not much to say other than that, just other than that certain teams in this conference are kind of getting used to seeing this setup. Teams outside the conference, those are the games that we might look at maybe for teams that don't play the triple option style of football against it. They're not used to defending it. So that's when those kind of games, and from a handicapping standpoint, pose trouble to opposing teams. But I'll be cheering for these guys week in, week out, but my money will be in my pocket.
I heard you on that one, Big Ragoo. And let's take a look at their schedule. Now, they do open up against Holy Cross. I think that might be the first chance for you to back them one time. And then they see East Carolina. They have to go to Memphis. Then they got to see the Air Force. Seems like every time they're going to get a break, they're going to get punished right behind it. They got to go to Connecticut. They got to go to Notre Dame. They got to go to Houston. And then they see Army in Philadelphia. So this team got their work cut out for them. Now, I don't want y'all to get shocked and alarmed because they're only returning 3 on offense, 2 on defense. You must remember, our Armed Force teams, they do turn over a lot of players a lot of the times. And a lot of the good edges I find on the military team is definitely discipline. If you can find a team that gives up a lot of turnovers or that don't cover special teams and they have to come up against a team like the Navy, that might be your spot. But I'm with you, Big Ragoo. I'm keeping my money in my pocket. I don't even trust them against Notre Dame because
No disrespect.
Notre Dame has a soft spot for them. I think we were favored by 20 some odd points or something last year, but it ended up being close even at a big spread. But we did cover that one, and I cashed that money, fading the Navy taking Notre Dame, which I'll be doing again this year. How about you, Big Ragoo?
Well, last year Navy got me, and it's probably karma, I guess. Not that we're talking bad, no disrespect, like we say. We love our guys in the service, but I did take last year. Was on Army last year against Navy, and Navy they played a real low scoring game, which that was no surprise. But yeah, they did cover the spread and kept the game under last year. So you'll probably see that again. You look for a lot of unders coming out of this team this year.
Well, I must say that even from going to the game last year, Navy played Notre Dame tough. Like physically, it seemed like they almost brought out a whole nother squad in the second half. So, it's definitely a team you got to be careful of, but definitely find your spot with this team. Don't just go willy-nilly and take them or even fade them because you might get your money taken. You heard it right here. Boss and the Sauce Show. We're going to move on from our armed forces team in this AAC conference, and we're going to get over to the next team right now. SMU! Yes, we made it to SMU Mustangs. Now, Coach Sonny Dykes, in his second year here, they gave him a little time coming over from Colorado to ease his way into it. But he should get his hands in the mix this year. Coming off of 5-7 from last year, he gets 5 on offense, 8 on defense returning. He gets a wide receiver, or 2 wide receivers, a left guard, and a right tackle, and also a center on offense. Then on defense, he gets a defensive end, defensive tackle, nose tackle, the other defensive end. That's pretty much a whole defensive line. The linebacker, a cornerback, and 2 safeties. So he's stacked in defense, and this is his year to press his foot forward a little bit more. Now, he did cop a good recruit in quarterback Shane Buechele, and this is out of the Lindley magazine. He was scheduled to graduate from Texas and enrolled at SMU SMU in the summer. Buechele brings wealth of experience. He started in all 12 games in his freshman year before losing the quarterback battle in 2017. But he still amassed 30 career touchdown passes as a Longhorn. Now he's over in SMU, and he's going to do his thing over here. I like the odds right here. I like having an experienced defense back. I like a second-year coach with a chance to get to run some of his recruits, some of his freshmen in places like running back, wide receiver, and stuff like that. So I kind of like SMU in this one this year. What do you think about this team right here, Big Ragoo?
SMU could be the sleeper team in the West, my man. Second-year coach. You got a quarterback transfer, Shane Buechele out of Texas, another Texas product, right? And talented receiver core he's got there to work with. So I like this. I like that look a lot. And defensively, they started out a little slow last year, and they got better. I think that this could be the team that may sneak up in the top three in that division. Right now, they got them pegged for 4, like a 6-6 season. So I think they take a big step forward. And if you look at their schedule, they open up Arkansas State, a winnable game. North Texas, no slouch, a winnable game. Texas State, winnable game. And they just might catch TCU sleeping early. So if this team starts off 3-0, look out for some noise really early in the season.
Well, I like to say and add to this that this team does look good. They do have a lot of promising spots, but they still need work on the offensive line. Offensive line can hold a talented group back. Definitely want to keep an eye on this team to see how well they put the offensive line together this year. And that's pretty much my take on SMU. I wouldn't really call them a sleeper. I kind of expect them to do a little bit better than 5 and 7. I give them 7 wins. I like SMU at 7 wins. And let's take a look at their schedule. It's absolutely possible. They open up at Arkansas State. They play North Texas, Texas State. Then they have to see TCU. They play South Florida, Tulsa, Temple. Then they have to go to Houston and to Memphis. And then they finish with these last 3. East Carolina, at Navy, and Tulane. So it's definitely possible that they can get up to about 7 wins this season. Some of these teams they're going to meet down the stretch, such as East Carolina, Navy, Temple. Some of those teams could be bared by injury, all kinds of stuff. I say SMU, if they get the benefit of the doubt, they will put 1 foot forward in this second year right here for the coach, and they'll get some victories, get them up to 7 wins. What's your final analysis on this one, BigRagoo?
Yeah, like they're a middle of the road team. Like even last year, they finished up stat wise right in the middle of the conference and everything. Offense, defense, yards gained, yards allowed, net yardage. So they're a team that is kind of like sitting right there in the middle, not making a lot of noise and not, creating a lot of havoc at the same time. So second year coach, move forward a little bit, and young, like you say, young on the offensive line a little bit, some talent in the skill position slots, and defensively they got eight guys coming back, and if they can make some improvements on defense, keep them hanging around in certain games, the closer games, maybe get that extra W here or there, might put them over the top bowl eligibility. At 6-6, they'll probably catch a bowl game, but they might get a little better quality bowl game if they can squeeze another win or 2 out of the season.
So there it is there. You heard it right here on the Boss and the Sauce Show, and we're going to take SMU at 7-5 this year. Stay tuned for the next team coming up right now. Y'all see that right there? Y'all see that right there? The Green Waves is coming. Let's go to Tulane. The Green Wave. I'm loving this team this year. Now, Tulane, Coach Willie Fritz, 4th year here. And like we already said before, 4th year is the real year. That's when your recruits are ready. That's when you've built the bond with the players that were already there. And guess what Willie Fritz gets? He gets 3 back on offense. He gets 8 on defense. Now, that 3 on offense is not that shabby, considering running back Darius Bradwell is going to be a senior who's going to be starting. He's 6'1", 230 pounds. Now, on offense, they return the quarterback, the wide receiver, and also the left guard. They do have a little work to do on the offensive line, but they did bring in a top recruit, Christian Montano, to play center. He also plays guard. He's a transfer over from Brown, where he played there for 3 years. Let's hope that helps out on the offensive line. Now let's look at the defense. Once again, complete defensive line here. Defensive end, defensive tackle, nose guard, linebacker / defensive end, and Patrick Johnson. Linebacker, nickelback, Will Harper, a cornerback, and also a free safety. So he pretty much got a senior group all the way back intact right here. On defense, we got about about 5 seniors, and on offense, we got about 5 seniors as well. So this team is going to be well led, and this coach is going to be fired up. It's his 4th year. He knows what to do. He knows who likes him, who don't like him. He knows what to do here. So I'm definitely backing Tulane as my sleeper team in the AAC. What do you think about that, BigRagoo?
Bradwell on the running back. Now, the quarterback that they had was an LSU graduate transfer quarterback. And then they bring in this offensive coordinator, a Division II guy named Will Hall. He's an up-tempo style type coach. So I was reading into that a little bit. And on the defensive side, they're really solid. A lot of senior leadership. They got 8 coming back. They were like 3rd or 4th in the conference last year on defense. So I think they're going to hold it down on the defensive side pretty well. And they've got some talent in running back. They got some skill position guys that are pretty solid. And with this up-tempo offense, maybe they make a little bit of noise here. They're 6-6 projected. They're projected to be a top 3 team in the West. And I think this team would probably be on the improve this year also. Their schedule-wise, you look at FIU early in the season. First game, no easy task there at home. Then they got to play at Auburn. So that could be 2 L's for them right off the get-go. Then they play Missouri State. Then they go to Houston. That could be an L or a W. And then they go at Army. So the first 5 games, they could have 4 L's, but those would be tough battles that they'll fight. And then that'll probably pay dividends later in the season, because you know what happens in college football when these teams, when they play those tougher teams and they got to play those little weaker mid-grade opponents later on, it's when they take the game to them. So it's going to strengthen their team up to play those tough games early. I like the way the coach has those games scheduled. And I think deeper in the season, this could be a play-on team for me.
Well, the way I see it, BigRagoo, this team was 7-6 last year, and those first 4 games, I think no way they get 4 L's. I say they upset at least 1 or 2 of them. So they do see FIU, could be an upset. They go to Auburn, could be an upset. Missouri State, they could win that outright. Houston could be an upset. They play the Army. Now, the Army defense is so tough. I don't see them doing much against the Army because of the defense over there on the Army and the young offensive line. But they see Connecticut. That's a definite win. They go to Memphis. They could upset there. They have to play Navy. That could be a definite win. They have to play Tulsa. That could be a definite win. And then they're at Temple. They definitely can upset them. The only real problem that they really see on it is playing Central Florida at home. So I want to say that I see this team right here as high as 9 wins for this season.
Wow. Oh,
yes,
wow.
You heard it right here from the boss. I'm backing Tulane. Wave check, as the youngsters say. They you might not know this, OG. They do this new thing, wave check, to see who got the waves and stuff. And I'm gonna be doing wave checks all season, looking for Tulane in those good spots for a nice upset. Any other thing to add about Tulane for you?
Nah, I like all the aspects of this team. I like solid defense, new look on offense with talent in the skill positions. Returning coach, 4th year coming back. I mean, and they're projected, top 3 team in their division. It's going to be pretty good. I'm going to have this team circled when I look down the board every week.
Absolutely. I'm definitely adding Tulane to my sleeper list. And they also will be on the watch list going over to the spread offense, which is pretty common in the AAC. So going spread offense just means that you're going to score like the other teams. Probably going to be a good over team. But we're going to put them halfway on the watch list, but definitely on the sleeper list. And you heard it here first from me. I'm projecting a 9-win season for Tulane. Woo! Right back at you with another conference prediction here. We're going to go to Tulsa Golden Hurricanes this time, right here in the AAC. Now, this team right here, Coach Montgomery, he's been here. This is his 5th year here. He's got all his recruits. He's got everything he wanted. And he hasn't did nothing good since 2016, where he went 10-3. Since then, he been in the slumps. He went 2-10. Last year, he went 3-9. This guy has been really stinking up the field. But this year, he returns 5 on offense, 7 on defense. Now, on offense, he doesn't get a quarterback, but he gets a junior quarterback in Zach Smith, who's 6'3", 224 pounds. But he does return running back Shelmer Brooks, 2 wide receivers, a left tackle, and the right guard. So the offense, with a little bit of help and some outstanding play for some newcomers, could do enough to win a few games because the defense is stacked. They bring back a defensive end in Travis Gibson, nose tackle, 3 linebackers, a cornerback, and a free safety. Now, defense is a game sort of like a band. They got to play together at the same time. Now, all these returners coming back together, that makes some nice music right there. So the defense could do a pretty good job, but guess what? The offense go 3 and out, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then the defense is going to get worn out, and we're going to be looking at another 3-9 season, and that's the way I see it. What do you think, BigRagoo?
Yeah, this could get really ugly really fast for this team. A lot of downhill stuff going on. I see early. I mean, even the coach himself says we got a lot of holes to fill in that offensive line, and it's young. They have a quarterback transferred in, Zach Smith, that's competing for his top job from Texas, graduate transfer. And then the defensive side of the ball looks pretty solid. Just on the offensive side, special teams are horrible. They missed like 10 field goals last year. They have a problem putting points up on the board. They have a problem sustaining drives. And with all those holes in the offensive line and the quarterback, we might see an early quarterback because there might not be anybody to protect the one he got, and he might be on his back the whole game, and he might get hurt the way this team's set up. So, I mean, if they don't start getting that ball on the other side of the line, pushing the ball downfield, I see this team getting involved in a lot of long games, and the defense is going to get wore out. So you know what that equals. So even though they're loaded up on the defensive side, if the offense doesn't produce for them, it could be some long games for Tulsa and a lot of lopsided scores. But this is a team, just by looking at the black and white, that I have no interest in possibly backing. Maybe it'd be a great fade team down the road.
Well, the way I see it, BigRagoo, since I'm such an opportunist, I like to stay optimistic at all times. Now, I do see an edge here with this game. Now, I'm looking for this team who plays at Michigan State, at San Jose State. They also play home. They play Oklahoma State. They play Wyoming at home. They play at SMU. They play at Cincinnati. They play at Tulane. And they also play at East Carolina. And guess what I'm looking for, BigRagoo? I'm looking for the first road win in 2 years. No way this guy's go 3 years without a road win. Now, let's break that down. They definitely got a chance to get a road win at San Jose State. That may be the exact one right then and there. But being a Mountain West guy like I am, I know that San Jose State is on the uprise this year, and they play really well at home. But no way they're going to touch Michigan State. They may have a chance at SMU. They also may have a chance at East Carolina. So I'm going to be looking for those spots where they have a chance to get their first road victory. I hope I get them at a nice dog price and make a little money on that. Anything left you want to let them know about this Tulsa team, BigRagoo?
Yeah, when they played November 2nd at Tulane, they stole some money from me last year. Tulane, they went to sleep when they played this team because here again, they thought they were pretty, off the cuff, bad team. So they didn't sleep, and they kind of snuck up on them early in the game and had a halftime play on that one. And Tulsa was up by like 2 scores in Tulane. So I think Tulane's got that game circled. I think they did come back and they lost the game. They had a last-second victory, Tulane did, but I look for Tulane to kind of turn the tables on that game early, and I'm probably going to make I'm going out on the ledge early. I'm going to say I'm going to bet Tulane in the first half against Tulsa. I don't even know what the line is yet. I'm going to play it right now.
Yeah, I like that right now too. Like I said, Tulane's my sleeper team. They're going to be such a better team this year. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder about last year's game, and they're going to beat the brakes off of Tulsa this year. But you heard it here first, right here on the Boss and the Sauce show. This is our last team that we're doing over here in the AAC. So stay tuned for our final wrap up, which is coming up right now. What up, though? Yes, I hope you watched all of our breakdowns individually of each team. Now we're gonna go ahead and wrap this on up. BigRagoo, how you feeling, man?
We're getting there, brother. We're gonna knock these games out individually. I think we got 12 games to put a quick stamp of approval on, and then we're gonna jump into a couple little things that we like, what we're gonna look for on each side of the conference, and we're gonna do a top two on the East and the West at the very end.
So first off, we're gonna do this thing we call first thought. I'm gonna give BigRagoo a game of the conference, and he's gonna give you his first thought on that game. So first up, BigRagoo, August 31st, UCLA at Cincinnati. First thought?
First thought is a tough game for UCLA on the road at Cincy. Cincy's probably going to be well prepped for this game. My thought is Cincinnati gets a W at home.
Okay. Next up, August 31st, Houston at Oklahoma. First thought.
Houston at Oklahoma. That's going to be Dana Holgerson's first game as Houston coach, going on Oklahoma, going up against Jalen Hurts in his first game in Oklahoma. I'm going to go with Riley and Hurts at home against Houston.
All I have to say about that game is over, over, over. Now, I'm going to give you my first thought. August 31st, Ole Miss at Memphis. First thought, very tough game. But I like Memphis at home. We're looking for Memphis to have a big season this year. Now, next up, BigRagoo, September 14th, Stanford at Central Florida. First thought.
Stanford, a long road trip from California all the way to Orlando. It's going to be a good game. I think Stanford's probably going to bring the discipline and the defense in that particular game. UCF is going to be a little different story for them. They're going to try to spread that Stanford line around. I'm going to roll with the UCF Knights at home in that one in a close game.
Okay, what about September 19th, Houston at Tulane? First thought.
My first thought is Houston, but my brain's telling me Tulane. First-year coach at Houston. I don't like taking first-year coaches early in the season. Tulane is a team on the rise, a sleeper team. I think they squeak the victory out at home in an upset, taking Tulane at the house.
I'm sort of with you right there. My first thought is leave it on the line. Let's see what the line is for that game on September 19th. Now, September 26th, Navy at Memphis. This is an easy one for me. How about you? First thought.
Yeah, first thought that Memphis in an easy game. Probably not a high-powered game for Navy because, they're going to run that option. I think Memphis's defense is good enough to slow Navy down, and we'll see if Navy can hold Memphis at bay on the other side. But I think Memphis wins by 2 scores in that game.
Absolutely, and I got Memphis for a 9-win season, and this will be one of those games right here. Next up, October 4th, Central Florida at Cincinnati. This is going to be my first thoughts. This is going to be a nice home game for Cincinnati. And again, on this one, I might be leaning over, but we'll have to see what the story is with Wimbush from UCF. And by October 4th, we'll definitely know what the deal is. Next up for you, BigRagoo, October 12th, Cincinnati at Houston.
Yeah, so that's back-to-back games, tough games for Cincinnati. They got to play at home, then they got to go on the road the next week at Houston. I think Houston will be well prepped for this game. And like I say, I don't like betting first-year coaches early in the season, but here we are, middle of October, and I think Houston will probably get their legs underneath them, with the new coach. I'm going to take Houston at home.
Okay, next up, right out of your neck of the woods, October 26th. I don't know if we'll be in Vegas yet, but we might be close to getting there. October 26th, UCF at Temple. Where you at on that one?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game also. I still like I'm going to call myself a homer on that one. I'm going to take UCF on the road. Temple will probably be well prepped for that game. They won last year 40. It says 52-40 in Orlando. So we'll see if Temple's got revenge on their mind. But I look for another close game up there. Maybe UCF squeezes that one out also. I don't know if it's going to be such a high-scoring game because I think Temple is going to probably try to figure out a scheme to slow them down a little bit. But I think UCF will get the win on the road.
Absolutely. And once again, that all will tell on Wimbush, and we won't know that until October 26th. Now, let's hurry up and speed through these. We got 3 left, but these are 3 bangers right here. These are 3 games that I'm really looking forward to watching. This is November 16th, Memphis at Houston. Memphis with a bunch of returning defensive players. Houston with this high-flying offense. This should be a great matchup. My first thoughts is I just want to watch the game. How about you, BigRagoo?
Yeah, that ought to be a barn burner, that one there. You got the new coach. Like I say, late in the season, Memphis is probably like in full swing mode. By that time, they're thinking probably AAC championship game. As a matter of fact, that's probably going to be the implicating game that determines who plays against UCF or Cincinnati on the other side. So that's going to be a tough one to call. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to take Houston in this game.
Okay, then we got this was a big traditional game, but it's going to be a nice matchup this year. It's definitely going to be a good watch. That's going to be USF at UCF. You will be the Dundada, the king, the leader, everything on this game right here. I'm gonna give my first thought. I'm gonna let you hold yours because we're gonna need that on November 29th. And this game is definitely gonna go right back to Wimbush. If Wimbush is doing well with the run pass offense and everything works out as they figured, at this point, they will bulldoze South Florida. But if all hope's well and some things come together for South Florida, they may be a contender in this one. But I don't see South Florida winning any big games because of the soft schedule. They could just win the soft games and go to a bowl. So I definitely like UCF on this one. And last one for our armed forces. Much respect, much love. Army versus Navy. Easy call, right? What you like in that one, BigRagoo?
I gotta stick with the Army Black Knights. They probably a good underplay. Like last year, I tried to get cute and play the over in that one, and it came close. I needed one more score, didn't get there. So this year, I'm just probably gonna sit back and enjoy it, unless something really jumps off the charts for me. But I'm not gonna try to get cute this year. I'm going to respect my servicemen in uniform and enjoy the festivities.
That's right there. All I say is Army, Army, Army. They played such an exceptional season last year, and they played tough that I'm just looking forward to see Army do their thing again this year. Now, let's move things over to our watch list. Now that we done told y'all all the best games, we told y'all each team individual breakdown, we're going to give you what's on our mind and what we're definitely watching for the AAC in 2019. I'll start, BigRagoo. My watch list off top is definitely going to be Tulane. I'm taking them to definitely win 9. I'm also taking Memphis to win 9. And I'm also got my eye closely on Wimbush to see what he do. And I'm also watching that first game against UCLA for Cincinnati. And those are my watch lists right there. How about you?
Yeah, mine isn't as big as yours, but I'm with you on that Tulane, the Green Wave. I'm really looking forward to see what kind of product they put on the field with the new offensive coordinator. Defensively, they're going to be stout. So I think a little up-tempo look from them. could be a good play-on team early in the season. And then also on the other side, real interesting look to me is going to be that Temple Owl squad. With they didn't land Manny Diaz as the head coach. They're a very talented team. We'll see how the Northern Illinois coach comes in and handles business for them. They're going to compete. They're going to be a solid unit. But like I say, another first-year coach coming in, probably just watch them early in the season and probably a little play action on them later in the season. So I'm going to be watching the Temple team, and I'm going to be watching the Tulane team.
Now, we appreciate everybody tuning in every time they tune in to everything we do. And this is the Boss and the Sauce Show. So we're going to wrap this one up with our last thing right here, which will be, who do you think will be the top two in each side of the conference here, BigRagoo?
On the East, I'm going to say UCF, University of Central Florida Knights, and the Cincinnati Bearcats on the East. And I'm going to go with the Memphis team and the Houston team on the West. Memphis, Houston, UCF, Cincinnati. Those are my two tops.
Now, is that in that order, or those are just your two tops?
Yeah, UCF number one, Cincinnati number two, Memphis number one, Houston number two.
Now, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, and since my real outlook of Wimbush is that he's gonna be a flock, I'm gonna take Cincinnati at the number one spot over there in the East, and I'm gonna leave UCF at the number two spot because they got a soft schedule. They could definitely got a chance to hold the number two spot down. And plus, they're inferior to a lot of the teams in their conference that's under them. So they always have an extra edge, despite if they have a bust in the quarterback like Wimbush. But over in the West, I definitely like Memphis a lot. I see 9 wins for Memphis, but I really like Houston with the high-powered offense. So I'm going to go Houston, Memphis, and just for a little bit of measure and some fun, I'm going to give a third one, and I'm going to take Tulane in the number 3 spot in the ACC. So that's it right there, y'all. I don't know what else to say. If you have any questions, comments, meet us in the premiere, access, email, DM us. Make sure you follow the BigRagoo 62 and DJ BigBoss on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe, like, and tell a friend about this show. Anything else you got for them, BigRagoo?
No, my friend. We just want to thank everybody for jumping on in with us again. Hopefully you guys are getting some good value out of the talks we're bringing to you guys. And we're getting ready, like you say, day by day, closer to the college football season kicking off. We're just days away. So stay tuned, and we'll definitely be back with our next conference. Probably record another show tomorrow, and then we'll be releasing them day by day. So always be checking back, check your DMs, check your alerts, check the channel. We'll have content for you day in, day out.
There it is there. And guess what, BigRagoo? I'll see you at the window.
I'll see you at the window.
And we out.
We out.